I know it's really hard to imagine that anybody could be a cold-hearted, callous, mean, and just manipulative devil. In the field of psychology, we rarely use those unprofessional and informal terms to describe a person who would do any and everything they could possible to harm you, to take from you, to manipulate and deceive you, and even to triangulate and create a lot of chaos in your life. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the dark empath family member, and for the purposes of this video, we're going to refer to this dark empath parent or family member as a predator. Before we jump in, let me just briefly introduce myself in case you are new to my channel. My name is Tamara. I'm internationally and I'm board certified as a trauma therapist. I'm licensed in mental health. I specialize in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults who are dealing with trauma right in my private practice. Let's go ahead and jump in. You know, the dark empath family member is one of the most complex things that you could try to wrap your mind around. Nobody wants to believe that their parent is or their family member is a manipulative, dark, and evil individual. The way that I want you to conceptualize a dark empath is that they are cold, callous, manipulative, and they don't care what pain and sorrow they put you through. They just want what they want. For most of these individuals, they are dealing with antisocial personality traits. They are dealing with traits of a psychopath, and they are also dealing with traits of narcissism. So a lot of dark empaths may come across as very pompous, arrogant, rude, inconsiderate, and even downright self-centered, egotistical. It's all about them. But there are also dark empaths who have come from very unsettled pasts. Some of it could be trauma. Some of it could be growing up under a narcissistic parent themselves, maybe a manipulative parent themselves, maybe a father was sexually, physically, and emotionally abusive. Maybe they were bullied half their life. Or guess what? Maybe they were entitled to just about everything and became a manipulating, evil-spirited person. A dark empath is not a clinical term. It really is a pop psychology term, a term that came up in the space of lay people to try to categorize individuals who have these three traits: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and sociopathy or psychopathy. And these three personality traits really does allow an individual to exploit everybody that they come in contact with. They exploit their ability to cognitively empathize with you. Now, when we're talking about a dark empath family member, a parent, it's important to understand that there's something known as cognitive empathy and affective empathy. Now, affective empathy is basically this: I can put myself in your shoes and I can imagine myself feeling all of the emotions, the guilt, the blame, the pain, the emotional turmoil, the grief, the loss. I can feel all those emotions with you, and I emotionally can empathize with you. I understand you. That is a healthy level of theory of mind, or affective empathy. For a dark empath family member or a parent, you're not going to get that. You're going to get what's called cognitive empathy. And that's when you can empathize based on what you know about a person. So an example of this would be, let's say your father got into a car accident. He lost his ability to see, and he also lost his ability to drive and his ability to walk because of a bad knee. Instead of you crying and feeling emotional because your father is going through all of this pain, and you can imagine the huge feelings of loss and grief that your dad is feeling, you talk to your father almost like a robot. You have recited in your past information and things that you have heard that sounds empathetic. And so now you kind of spit that back out at your dad, right? I know how you feel. I know it's really hard. Lose your ability to drive. It just feels like you've lost everything. And now you're at this age and, all this is going on. I know how you feel, right? It's not that you effectively understand him. It's you cognitively know what to say. You know what he wants to hear, and you know what other people have said. And so you've pulled from that and you've spewed that back out at your father. Okay. So that's an example of cognitive empathy. Now, because I did a video recently on diagnostic labels, which I'm going to post right up here for you, here's the thumbnail. you are likely to remember what was in that video. So let me highlight something here. Dark empaths can have what we call subclinical symptoms. And that means, here's the word right here on the screen. That means that a dark empath may not fit the full description of a narcissist. They may not fit the full description of a psychopath, but they have symptoms that overlap. And they have symptoms that are problematic. So a dark empath is going to be cognitively empathic. They know what you want to hear. They know what they need to say to be socially approved of, right? That is not necessarily a clinical and diagnosable symptom or behavior. That's just a learned way that they have used to get around in the world, okay? Now, they may have some narcissistic features, but they may not meet every diagnostic criteria for narcissism. Some of the things that you will see in dark empaths, though, include arrogance and pride. You're also going to see selfishness. And then you may also have some callousness in there as well. And they're very unemotional. They're all about themselves. As far as psychopathy goes, you're probably going to see antisocial behavior, impulsivity, recklessness. They're unemotional as well, and they are very self-centered. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to walk into a therapist's office and get the diagnostic label of a psychopath, right? Or someone with antisocial personality disorder or narcissism. So you want to keep that in mind. Just because your family member, your parents may fit the description of a dark empath doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come out with that particular diagnosis of narcissism or, of a psychopath or an antisocial person. Now, the symptoms of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy can overlap. Now, let me highlight what Machiavellianism is. It basically is this. It's exploitation. You basically have learned how to emotionally extort and emotionally manipulate everybody that is in your life, right? There is this lack of interest in other people. You don't really have an interest in getting to know them. You don't really have an interest in protecting their emotions. It's all about you. You exploit others to get what you want. There's also this lack of morality and Machiavellianism, right? You don't go by values, you don't go by ethics, and you certainly don't go by morals. They don't exist to you. You do whatever you want to do. I remember when I was like 5 years into my career as a psychotherapist, I remember seeing an 11-year-old girl. She had been taken to foster home after foster home after foster home, finally got into an adopted home and was loved and paid a lot of attention to. Her dad, was the owner of several businesses, so they were very financially well off. Instead of her blending in with that family system and adjusting in a healthy way, she began to set things on fire in the backyard. She began to threaten certain family members. By the end of 2 years, the adopted parents were locking their bedroom drawers and doors. They stopped buying her extra things that she didn't need because she was going around the neighborhood selling them for more money. She was just 11, by the way. She was very inconsiderate. There was no boundary for her. Unfortunately, she even sexually came on to her friend's father when he and his wife divorced. Again, she's 11. So an individual with traits of Machiavellianism, right? There is no morals, there's no ethics, there's no boundaries. And that is the scary part. So what will you see with somebody like this? Well, let me just start off by saying you are likely to see what's called a moral disengagement. They're not going to be connected to their values, their morals, the morals of society, and the morals of their culture. The attitude that they carry around is that morals, ethics, and values don't relate to me. And so you're not going to get a person who's going to respect a marriage. You're not going to get a person who's going to respect your individuality. You're not going to get a person who respects your religion. All of their moral codes, all of the things that you have ingested and digested as a healthy, developing human being, this dark empath family member or parent is not going to have that. So there's moral disengagement. There is also dominance and entitlement. And so the attitude here is, I want what I want. I'm going to get what I want. You're not going to be able to stop me. And I will go to whatever level I need to go to, kill someone, manipulate someone out of something, steal, lie, cheat, the list goes on. I'll do whatever I need to do, even sabotage, to get what I want. There's also deficits in social emotional engagement with people. They don't know how to blend in with people and love them and care for them authentically and compassionately. They're all about themselves and getting what they want. Now, if they do something and they've gotten caught, they may have the disposition that they are sorry about it. They may get themselves in such a rut that they can't get out, right? Because they're antisocial, they're narcissistic, they have psychopathy at the foundation of how they engage in the world. And so, you may see primarily in females that are a dark empath, they may feel really bad about what they've done after they've done it. But it's almost like an inability to control that cold, callous piece of who they are, right? They also have a fantasy of attachment to other people, some of them. They may tag you as their mother and you not know anything about it. They may tag you as their husband and you not know anything about it. But what you come to find out over time is that they've been entertaining this unhealthy fantasy about the purpose you serve in their lives. A lot of them could come across as psychotic and very detached from reality. So you want to keep that in mind as well. They may be delusional in a lot of ways, but they know how to cover it, because psychopaths are very good at tracing their steps, and so are narcissists. They manipulate people like chess pieces. That's the best way that I could put this. And I've had at least maybe 3 to 4 dark empaths in my whole 14 years of being in this career. And let me tell you, they move everybody in their life, including the therapist, like a chess piece. Chess is a fun, exciting game for them because they always have the ability to look at the big picture and to move chess pieces around like an expert. They just don't have the ability to always cover themselves. Somewhere, they get caught. But those who don't get caught, they get very far in life, maybe even become professionals and experts, and maybe even the president of the United States. That's how good a dark empath can be. They're glowing stars in their own eyes. Nothing they do is wrong. Nothing they do is harmful. They will deny, and deny some more, right? One of the dark empaths that I had 8 years ago was a young lady. She was 20 years old, and she would steal. She would pathologically lie, she would manipulate, cheat, and do whatever she needed to do to get what she wanted. And one day she got caught. The police sat her down. I was called to the station to talk to her as well. And she denied everything. She was clearly on surveillance in a store where she was putting things down in her pocket, down in her shoes, down in her bra, and with the tape right in front of her eyes. And the officer moved the TV up to her face so that she could see herself on surveillance. She still denied it was her. If you deny it, it doesn't exist. If you lie about it, it doesn't exist. And that's the fantasy that she was in. She saw herself in glowing stars, starlights, on stage, spotlights all around her. She saw herself as special and capable. And it didn't matter how true that reality was, she didn't accept it. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, I encourage you to check this video out right here, where I break down what a dark empath really is. And this one talks about parents who are dark empaths as well. Thank you so much for being with me in today's video, guys. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want more videos like this. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.